Okay, so let's try and make sense of this incredibly tense situation that's been developing between the United States and Iran. Because while on the surface you hear talk about peace, the military reality, well, that suggests we could be right on the edge of a major conflict.
If you've been following the news, you're hearing all about a potential peace deal, or at least a ceasefire. But here's the thing. At the very same time, troop movements on the ground are telling a completely different, and frankly, a much more worrying story. So what is really going on here?
To really get to the bottom of this, we have to look at two totally different messages coming out of Washington and Tehran. And these aren't just minor disagreements. We're talking about two conflicting realities with global security kind of hanging in the balance.
So, on one side, you have the U.S. president painting a picture of de-escalation. He's on record telling the world's media that there's a big 15-point ceasefire offer on the table and that Iran is just champing at the bit to talk.
But Iran's response? Wow. It was immediate and it was blunt. They just flat out denied any contact at all. You had officials openly mocking the president, basically suggesting he must be talking to himself.
And this really just spells it out, doesn't it? The U.S. is publicly claiming, hey, we're making progress, we're talking, while Iran is saying absolutely not, nothing has changed. They're sticking to their one core demand, that all U.S. forces have to leave the Gulf region, period.
Now, this whole back and forth isn't just a war of words. It had massive, immediate financial consequences. And if you ask Iran, well, that might have been the whole point from the beginning.
I mean, just look at what this did to the markets. The president makes his announcement and boom. In 6 minutes, the S&P gains $2 trillion in value. Less than an hour later, Iran issues its denial, and $1 trillion of that gain just evaporates. That is a $3 trillion swing in about an hour, all based on words.
But here's where it gets really suspicious. The Financial Times reported that a massive $500 million bet on oil futures was placed just minutes before the president's announcement. It strongly suggests someone, somewhere, had insider knowledge and used it to play the market.
So for Iran, this is the smoking gun. They're basically accusing the White House of spreading fake news, not to create peace, but to create a money-making opportunity, to commit financial crime on a global scale.
Okay, let's switch gears and look at the military reality on the ground, because this is where things get really dangerous. Despite America's massive technological superiority, their main strategy, well, it's just not working.
Here is the absolute heart of the problem for U.S. military planners. Iran has built at least 27 heavily fortified missile cities deep underground. And we're not talking about simple bunkers here. These are massive, hidden military complexes.
And these things are built to last. I mean, they're buried so deep in solid granite mountains that even the most powerful bombs can't really touch them. There are reports that when a tunnel entrance gets bombed, the Iranians are able to clear it out and start launching missiles again in less than a day. So this failure of air power puts the Pentagon in a really tough spot. If you can't destroy the threat from 30,000 feet, what's your only other move? You have to go in on the ground.
And this brings us right back to the timing of that so-called peace pause, because a lot of analysts are now suggesting it had nothing to do with talks. It was a smokescreen, a cover for the next phase of the military plan.
Just look at how this all lines up. A 5-day pause is announced. During that exact window, an expeditionary force with over 2,000 elite Marines arrives in the region. And the pause is scheduled to end on a Friday, right as the stock markets close for the weekend, leaving those troops perfectly positioned to kick off a ground assault.
And the objectives for an attack like that would be incredibly high stakes. They'd probably try to seize Karg Island. That's where 90% of Iran's oil exports come from, to basically cripple their economy. They'd also try to secure the Strait of Hormuz and, this is the big one, send troops in to destroy those missile cities from the inside. But here's the real twist in all this. Iran isn't just aware that this could happen, they almost seem to be encouraging it. It's like they're laying a trap.
And I'm not just speculating. This is a direct, chilling quote from a top admiral in the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. This isn't a threat trying to stop an invasion. This sounds like an open invitation. Come to us.
And trust me, it's not a bluff. For the last 20 years, Iran has been preparing for exactly this kind of fight. They've built a massive arsenal designed for what's called asymmetric warfare. We're talking thousands of naval mines, thousands of ballistic missiles, and a network of battle-hardened proxy forces just waiting for the call.
So what does that even mean, asymmetric warfare? It means you don't fight fair. You don't go tank for tank against the U.S. military. Instead, your goal is to drag an invading force into an absolute nightmare, using ambushes, mines, and relentless missile and drone strikes from those hidden bases to just bleed them dry. It's designed to make a ground war completely unwinnable.
And this whole strategy puts the White House in a truly impossible position. There are no easy options here. You're stuck between a humiliating withdrawal, which would look like a colossal failure, and launching a ground invasion that could lead to just catastrophic casualties and a long, costly, and bloody war.
And get this, it's not just analysts saying this. The Pentagon itself has admitted that it has no clear path to a quick victory. Their own assessment warns that a ground war would be a multi-day, multi-week fight at a minimum, with no guarantee of success at the end.
And that leaves us with one final, sobering thought. Between all the conflicting statements, the shady market games, and the military posturing, it's really easy to forget the real-world cost. In this high-stakes game of deception, when the board is an actual battlefield, it's not the players who pay the ultimate price, it's the people on the ground.